What's up, guys? Check it out. I want to talk about one thing real quick. It's very interesting. It seems that, as best as I can put it, so far from my experience, over time, we basically develop daily routines. Over time, we basically develop who we are, what we do on a regular basis. We kind of associate ourselves with like physical actions or activities or things we do that make up who we are. And so, for example, after a long time of doing these things, and I'll give more examples right now, but after a long time of doing these things, it's almost like that's who we are. That's who we learn that we are. Okay? So like years go by and we develop who we are. So why am I talking about that? Let me tell you, because a part of my experience that has been so interesting, so unexpected, so powerful is, I'll give you some simple examples, but there's so much more to it. When I started to eat healthier, it wasn't that big of a deal because I had just started trying. So a couple years back, even I would say a little bit more than a couple years back, I started to attempt to learn how to eat healthier. Really, many years back was the beginning, but more consciously and more willingly, more strongly a couple years back. But at that point, it didn't make me feel anything out of the ordinary, because I was just learning about health foods. I was just starting to learn, or try to eat healthier. But it came to a point where I had actually made so much progress where it was almost like I had a decision to make. It came to a point, for example, where I was eating like just as healthy. So I had changed my eating habits significantly to the point where, let's say, half of my diet was actually completely new at that point. So half of my diet was very much different and healthy at that point. And that's when the weird feelings, unexpectedly, very interesting experience occurred without even meaning to. I just started to feel like, is that really who I am? Which was weird. I didn't expect to go through that. The unexpected part was so powerful. It just made it so strange, because it was almost like it got to a point where I had a decision to make, to decide if, it's almost like I associated who I was with my diet. But there's so many more parts to it. Like I said, I'm just giving you a simple example. That's just one little change. And when a bunch of changes started to accumulate, when I first started to make steps in the right direction, or when I first started to try to make steps in the right direction, it wasn't as apparent. It wasn't as obvious to me what might happen or what could happen or what would happen. But eventually I made enough progress where what could happen was happening, and what might happen had happened, which was that I was actually very significantly making changes. And so those changes were very different than anything that I had entertained in my past. For example, a diet is one out of so many, fair to say, very many other examples. But my diet, it's not really just eating salad, but just so I don't get into the details, because I don't really just eat salad. I actually don't eat that much salad. I actually eat a lot of other health foods. But for example, it's kind of like out of nowhere, I was eating so many salads and I was good at it. And I actually felt a very strong benefit from it. I don't even know where to start, and it would be too long for me. And I'll make more videos, and throughout my YouTube, I'll explain what I mean. One video at a time. But for example, just my overall well-being. Now I believe, for example, my hormones started to get more balanced. My overall health, my well-being, my good feeling. I was just happier a lot of the times. So it wasn't just the salads. Like I said, there's so many things, but the salads, and it wasn't just salads, it was nuts, it was seeds, it was a bunch of different fruits and vegetables. It was all kinds of powerful natural extracts and exercise, so many things. But for lack of a better, detailed explanation, it was like when I first started to try to eat salads, and it's like I said, it's not just salads, but when I first started to try to eat salads, it wasn't that big of a deal. I didn't feel it that much. I was just like, all right, I'm going to try. I didn't realize that it was going to bring such strong emotions, because it was like I was changing who I was. But at that point, at the beginning, I didn't see it that way. It was just me trying to make a positive change with myself. I didn't realize that if I actually moved forward with it, and I actually, made it a real strong part of my life, that I would associate who I was with that. Out of nowhere, I was the guy who ate salads. And I was like, whoa, this just doesn't feel right. Like I said, it's so much more than just salads. But without going into the details, I'll go into the details in further videos, because I feel it's important. But so it's a very interesting experience. I totally encourage it. Just embrace it. Take some deep breaths. It's like a freaking emotional, strange experience, because it's not just your diet. It's so many things that you start changing at the same time. And it's like we attach our identity, who we are, to all the things we do. And when you start changing in a positive way, for lack of a better way to put it, or for one example, when you start changing the things you do, it's like almost like you're like letting go of the person that you're used to being. You're used to being a certain way. And then when even though it's positive change, even though you're moving in a positive direction, it's so much change, it almost starts feeling like another person, kind of. Like I said, it's not just a salad, but I don't know where you're the guy eating salad and you're actually doing it very naturally and you're very good at it and you're actually feeling the differences. One thing that it helped, I started to be able to exercise and recover and last longer with my endurance and my stamina. I was happier. I was more mentally focused. I had a better routine going. My days were just flowing so much better. And so I knew the salad was making a difference. I was like, dang, and I was good at it. Because first you have to introduce yourself to the salad. And there's a lot of different things that can go in a salad. There's tomatoes, there's cucumbers, there's celery, there's onions, there's beets, there's cabbage, there's different kinds of lettuces, there's different kinds of nuts and seeds. You can even put some berries. But at first, you just introduce yourself to it. But after like 5-6 months, you're really well experienced at eating and making salads. You can put cheeses on them. Like this is just a simple example or a simple way to put it. And a salad is just such a vague or such a, just like I said, incomplete example. But it's kind of like a part of it. And it's a good way to kind of express what I'm trying to, communicate. That changes. At first you don't realize, like, all right, I'm going to start trying to learn how to eat salads. But then you start getting good at it. And then you start learning about how to make them better. And then you start enjoying them. And then it starts feeling like, dude, when did I learn how to make salads? And when did I start enjoying them? And why am I doing this? And even though they're positive, why? Because it's nutritious. Why? Because it's making my body so much stronger. Why? Because it's making my day so much better. And like, where do I start? Like I said, I'll make more videos about it. But yeah, my point is, what I really wanted to point out with this video was, eventually the changes accumulate or advance or both to the point where it becomes kind of strange, and it's so unexpected,